What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Smoking Tire Podcast. Today's episode is, as always, brought to you by Off the Record. We love Off the Record here at the Smoking Tire because they are looking out for us 24/7, 365. Wherever I drive a car, whatever state, whatever jurisdiction, I know that if I get yoinked, Off the Record is right there backing me up. All I got to do is go to offtherecord.com/TST, send a photo or scan of the ticket along with a description of what I was doing at the time, my version of events, if you will, and Off the Record goes to work. 95% of the time, you just get that text message just long enough later that you've completely forgot about it saying dismissed. Other times, you got to take a little extra action. Either way, they are looking out for you. It is affordable and is high quality, and you're supporting your favorite podcast when you use them. It's a three-peat winner, folks. Offtherecord.com/TST. That'll get you 10% off all legal services booked through Off the Record. Once again, offtherecord.com/TST. Cheers,
no,
Habibi.
cheers.
And with that, welcome to my Airbnb at the foot of a beautiful meadow at the base of a mountain with a man I haven't seen in 10 years, maybe?
Something, yeah.
Wes Siler. We did motorcycle things briefly.
We did YouTube things briefly.
Car things briefly.
Yeah, we were colleagues in the car review world in the 2000s.
Mm-hmm. And now here you are.
Yeah.
Wearing a vest over a flannel. And we all know what that means. No. So I actually have to when I was coming up here, I'm here for Ice Race, and I read your newsletter. And I just became a paid subscriber, by the way.
Thank you. I
don't know if they alerted you. Annual prepaid.
Wes Siler, it's .substack.com.
I mean, honestly, the best, not just on literal Substack, but like the best writing that I'm reading today is like pretty much full indies.
Yeah.
Like yourself, like Garbage Day, Hamilton Nolan, I read, A.R. Moxon.
Yeah, Hamilton's great. Yeah.
Do you read Moxon?
I don't.
I recommend A.R. Moxon.
Okay.
But like they're all just like they moved to the newsletter format effectively.
Yeah, you can't be a journalist working for most mainstream outlets today. There's a few that still do it right. You know, there's the Atlantic, there's
like
the New Yorker. I know, like Road and Track. But you know, it's just impossible to be a journalist. And so I was fired in September for being a journalist.
I read this, and this was crazy. Because so that's a well-crafted sentence. So you weren't fired for writing about the wrong thing. You were fired because you decided to run for office here in Montana, and this is according to your newsletter.
Yeah.
And the outlet said, for perhaps the first time ever, that you cannot write for us and run for office.
Yeah, so it's a decent summary.
I mean, but you wrote 5,000 words on this, and I just did it in 50.
You just did a quick
I just
skim.
did it in 50.
But more or less the story is I was at Outside as the outdoor lifestyle columnist for a decade. I was by far the most popular writer. I was responsible for something like any given day, a quarter to a half of all the web traffic.
And you write about cars, you write like
dogs,
outdoor trucks, dogs, outdoor
trucks,
gear.
Yeah.
More and more it's land conservation type issues, but for most of your career, it's just been general outdoor lifestyle stuff.
Yeah, I try to tackle important issues. So what matters? If you're an Outside magazine reader, if you care about the outdoors, what matters? And so that changes in a given year. Right now we could talk about climate change because it's
I'm
almost
here for
March.
The ice race.
It's almost March and there's no snow in Montana. It's 50 degrees outside.
Yeah.
I always took that charge really seriously, and I think I was good at it. And the problem with being good at journalism is that often being good at journalism is bad for business if it is a business that is oppositional to journalism. And so what we've seen recently is a lot of publications have been acquired by, for lack of a better word, tech bros.
Yeah.
And they're in it not to...
You could also say assholes.
Assholes. That's
you
certainly
could say
another word.
People that are like actively bad for humanity.
And so they're not in it for the cause of journalism or the cause of informing the American public.
No, they're usually in it to do the exact
change.
opposite thing of that.
Yeah, they're using it for a short-term buck. And so they get that short-term buck out of an app sale or something like that. And so they only look at the journalism as the opening of their engagement funnel. And they want the smoothest path from, backwards up that asshole right into the app sale.
Yeah.
Right? They don't want good stuff that challenges people. They want unchallenging content.
Well, and if you're talking about Bezos and the Post
Yes,
recently,
Bezos
he
and the Post
explicitly has said he wants.
Yes.
We're going full bore pro capitalism all the way.
Yes, so just bullshit, right?
Yeah.
And so what happened with Outside was it was acquired in 2021 by Tech Bros. Some dude who had made like a Strava clone. In the height of like app acquisition.
We only fuck with the real.
Got hundreds of millions of dollars for like a bad Strava clone, and thought he was a genius. And I was sitting there doing good journalism, and he was seeing that as a barrier to him selling apps. And so he wanted to fire me for a while. I had an ironclad contract. He couldn't really fire me. I interviewed Tim Walz during the campaign. Interviewed John Kerry. I was supposed to interview Joe Biden. I was doing important work. And, he was just, this is not what we're trying to do. Just go review a fucking tip, bro.
Did he stick to cars to you? He almost
stick to cars. Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
I get the occasional stick to cars.
And so I got recruited to run for office here in Montana for state senate, which there's 1.1 million people in Montana. I hate to phrase it this way, but running for state senate here is kind of like running for town council in Santa Monica.
My assembly person, I think represents like the same number of people.
Yes, exactly.
But I do have to pause because I have to actually, because I want to talk about it because the way you ended up running is interesting, and I want to talk about that.
Sure.
And it circles back to other stuff. But Mallory McMorrow.
Of course, we're good friends.
Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow.
Yes.
I support her.
Yeah.
I support everything she does.
Yes.
Her team asked if she could come on the podcast.
Okay.
And I said, although I support everything she does, I don't think having politicians on the podcast, even if I support them,
Right.
is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so, when I invited you to come on the podcast, I didn't know you were running for office. Literally, I did not know.
And for the record, I did not ask to come on the podcast. Matt asked me.
No, I did, but I didn't know you were running for office. And then I was like, oh shit,
that's hilarious.
And I told no to Mallory.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, the way I'm going to navigate this is me and Wes have a lot of other things to talk about.
Yes.
Other than what's your website? Plug your campaign website.
westformontana.com.
Okay, westformontana.com. If you're interested in Wes's literal campaign positions, go check out westformontana.com.
I don't even like talking about that stuff. So,
but I just I feel really bad because I really like and support what Mallory's doing. And
100%.
I said I didn't do politicians, and you're kind of a politician right now.
Mallory is a much more serious politician than I am. I'm not the most serious politician. So, and it's funny because people label you with that. They label you with you're a politician now. And you're in your head,
if you win.
In your head, I'm just exactly if I win, I'm just still Wes. I'm just some guy who's is fed up with the status quo and wants to help create some change because I think I can. It's essentially the compensation for this position is $5,000 a year. I will lose more money in the hours I spend on it than I will ever receive from this.
Is that really the compensation? $5,000 a year.
There's some change on top of that. It's maybe $5,300 or something. But
is it? But you get a bearskin rug or something.
I think I have to provide my own bearskin rug, yeah.
All right, they don't pay you, but you get to be first in line for deer hunting licenses every year.
I don't even think that's the
no
case.
perks.
Yeah, there's really no perks. It's all downside. I have to say, don't run for office.
It's all crazy people yelling at you.
It's a miserable experience. It's all crazy people yelling at you. Everybody treats me like I'm embarked on some corrupt endeavor when I spent my entire life in what's more or less public service as a journalist.
Yeah.
And I'm just sort of doing the same thing, just I've written about policy. I know how to do policy now after writing about it for 20 years. Surely I can go apply that directly rather than writing around it.
Yeah.
That was my idea. And then all of a sudden, I'm a politician now and I'm different. And that's strange, right?
Yeah, I mean, because it's particularly in this country, your job title so defines you.
Yes.
And if you change job titles, you're a different person now.
Yes.
In a lot of ways.
Yes.
And especially in journalist and politician aren't necessarily opposed, but they kind of are. I mean, you know what I mean?
They traditionally are in some ways because journalists cover politicians.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's also a lot of shared common grounds because both are
Hopefully
like
truth.
yeah,
Ideally.
hopefully truth, ideally.
Yeah.
Like both are vastly undercompensated, like service-oriented, cause-oriented
Sure.
career paths.
Yeah.
And I don't even
pay
see
enough.
politician as a career path. I just see it as like, shit's fucked.
Yeah.
I'm fed up with it. I want to do something to help, and that's what we're being told to do something, do something positive. And I've run charities in the past. I've helped people out. I've tried to do the right thing always. And it just sounded kind of this time like, hey, maybe the right thing is going to Helena, the state capital, and helping craft some legislation to make the lives of Montanans a little better.
I always sort of found that, like, when people would tell me to, like, stick to cars or whatever.
Right.
Like, whatever your kind of area of expertise, if you're looking at something that is out in the world in public. For me, it's more cars than anything else. For you, it's more the outdoors and than anything else. But, like, politics comes for you. Like, you don't, like, I didn't, like, go seeking that.
No.
But, like that shit, like, dude, why is, like, Porsche so super fucked, like, literally right now? Like, politics. Like, they said, you have to go full electric, and they, like, good fucking smart Germans were like, okay.
Yeah.
And they went, and then it was like, fucking handbrake turn.
Yep.
And now they're in, like, that's
Exactly.
politics.
You can't care about something like cars and not at some point intersect politics and be forced to care about politics because it affects everything. Look at Ford and the pivot they're trying to do right now and what their stock prices have been like. Look at Tesla and the headwinds they're facing. And that's inherently political. Right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, they thought the Cybertruck was a good idea, which one could argue is not political, but is incredibly misguided.
It's indicative of a certain political belief, I think. Right?
It does. It does. One who sniffs their own farts too much will inevitably design a car that looks like that.
It's the make trucks great again of trucks.
Yeah. But so that's, for me, cars run head first into politics frequently.
Yeah, and the outdoors even more so.
Right, so that's where I was going. Because
we have 648 million acres of public land in this country.
Can you, real quick, just for those who don't, like, what is a public land? Like, this sounds like a fucking dumb question.
Yeah.
Like, what is a public land that's different from a national park or state park or
a quick history lesson.
Yeah. Guys, taking a quick break because DeleteMe is supporting us today. You know about DeleteMe because I've been talking about them for like a year now. DeleteMe knows your privacy is worth protecting, and so they really, really work hard. It's all they do to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. You know the talking points, people. What it does is it's a protective shield that goes over your online life, right? Like, to exist on the internet, you have to provide personal information. You're signing up for services, you're buying things, you're existing as a human on the internet, right? But also those services that are delivering you value, then you're the product. Like, they take your information and sell it out the back door, right? Like the liquor at the club in Goodfellas. And so what you need to do is then find that liquor and reclaim it for yourself. The way you do that is with DeleteMe. But they don't deliver you liquor. They get the things off the internet that you want off the internet. It's not just a one-time service. They're always working for you, constantly monitoring and removing the personal information that you don't want on the internet. And I should know, as someone with an active presence online, but also a family that has very little presence online, I would like those people protected. And I've had friends that have been, identity thieved. And certainly I've had to deal with scam phone calls, text messages, things like that. So I do love DeleteMe. It has notably reduced the amount of scam calls and text messages I've gotten, for sure. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for DeleteMe at a special discount for our listeners. Get 20% off your DeleteMe plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/tire and use promo code TIRE at checkout. One more time, that's joindeleteme.com/tire and enter code TIRE at checkout. Joindeleteme.com/tire, code TIRE. And we're also supported today by AG1. You know what I'm saying? Motivation, it comes and goes, but habits show up even when you don't feel like it. Habits are easy, and AG1 is the easiest habit you can start now to support this kind of consistency, even when your motivation is not perfect. Like, working out is really hard, requires motivation. Like that, you're going to get sweaty, you need to change of clothes, maybe a shower, maybe even a trainer, maybe something else. But AG1, it's so easy. One scoop, 20 seconds, 8 ounces of water, chug, 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 and it's done. First thing in the morning before coffee. It doesn't need a full makeover of your life. One scoop, water, shake, shake, chug, chug, and you're done. Because AG1 is daily energy support powered by superfoods and B vitamins, helping you avoid the winter slump. Plus, it's got immune support from antioxidants, probiotics, and functional mushrooms, helping you stay at your best this winter. Whatever you're doing, are you skiing, working, going out late, or just getting it done every day? AG1 is what's up. I alternate between partying and getting it done every day. And AG1 helps. I use it and you should too. By the way, AG1 now comes in original citrus, berry, and tropical. I like the berry with a backup of tropical. A chaser, if you will. AG1 has over 50,000 verified 5-star reviews, comes with a 90-day money-back guarantee. For a limited time only, go to drinkag1.com/tire to get a free AG1 flavor sampler, an AGZ sampler to try all the flavors, plus free vitamin D3 at K2, and the AG1 welcome kit with your first AG1 subscription order. Limited time offer, only available while supplies last. That's drinkag1.com/tire. drinkag1.com/tire. And now, back to the show.
When we were creating America and trying to ratify the Constitution, we had some problems, right? Because we were trying to bring together like 13 very diverse colonies and find a way for them to exist together in the same country under the same governance. And one of the problems was like the royal charters that created those countries. They only knew like what, like the 1600s. They're like, I don't know, here's a river on a coast.
Yeah.
Hey, Virginia, you have everything from like this river to that river and then like wherever that goes.
Yeah.
And what that looked like on maps after the Revolution was just like, vast overlapping lines.
Sure.
As they went west of the Appalachians. And, the only way to settle that was to like define some sort of common ground. And that was established as, at the time, everything west of the Appalachians basically went to the American people for the furtherance of our country. And as we created states, that land was granted to create states. And what we were left over after a few different wars with, Spain and Mexico and, various other things in the Louisiana Purchase and the establishment of these western states was a whole bunch of land that nobody wanted. We tried to give it away to homesteaders and the Homestead Act in various different ways, but a lot of it just was no good. And so it just ended up being owned it's owned by the American people and managed on our behalf by the federal government. And there's so much
BLM for most of the time, right?
It's not just BLM. It's BLM, national forests, national parks.
Okay, so it's all under the same.
It's all public lands.
Yeah.
Right. So like that right there, if you guys can see that hill, is public land.
Yeah.
And that's national forest.
Okay.
And so it's a set aside for all of us, and it gives us a really unique, like really democratic access to the outdoors. And if you're just into cars and you just want Matt to sit the cars, well, that's where you go off-roading.
Okay.
Right. That's where you go car camping. But we all benefit from it because that's our reservoir of biodiversity and clean environment that creates the air we breathe and the water we drink and the animals we like to see. And I won't dive into too many details, but the way it's managed was created by big thinkers like Teddy Roosevelt at the turn of the 20th century, and it's exceptionally good and it's exceptional in that it's unique to America. And so you and I have traveled the world. Do you see animals anywhere in the world, including in Africa, like you see here?
I mean,
outside of a national park.
When I was literally on safari in Africa, yes.
But like driving home tonight, we're in Big Sky right now.
Yeah,
I'm driving home from Bozeman after dark.
Yeah.
And the animals that I might hit, that like on the way home, which
maybe New Zealand,
fair.
But like,
not
it's
most
an
developed
amazingly
countries.
natural and.
So right here in Montana, the animals that I have a pretty good chance of hitting on the way home are wolves, moose, bighorn sheep, elk, 2 kinds of deer, black bear, brown bear, you name it. They will all be on the road tonight as I drive home. And that biodiversity and that healthy wildlife that then tourism thrives on, that establishes our unique identity as Americans of going camping and being outdoorsy and wearing fleece vest over our flannel shirts, all that is from public lands. And it's a really unique system that we all benefit from. It pays hundreds of billions into the treasury every year. It offsets the taxes you and I pay.
In terms of what, national park entry fees?
No, it's in terms of like energy extraction.
Oh, energy extraction.
Yeah, so it's managed under multiple use. And so basically, like the public lands, I need to consider multiple use and sustained yield. So the idea is that we want to go pull some coal out of that hill. Well, we can, so long as we create a plan that balances that with people that want to hike on that hill, the people that want to extract timber from that hill, people that want wildlife on that hill, clean air, clean water, right? And so you hundreds of billions a year.
So public lands aren't necessarily all free from extraction. And
there's vast commercial activities on public lands. That's what they're there for. Again, they're there for multiple use.
Okay.
And when managed properly, they balance that industrial use with the other concerns, with wildlife conservation, with the natural environment, with recreation, right? And so what we're seeing right now is an unprecedented attack that's trying to undo that balance and tip it entirely in favor of extraction. And extraction is not bad, but it has to be managed correctly. And
are we surprised? I mean,
yes.
we're in the short-term money government. Right?
Yes, we're in the short-term.
We're in the get it while it gets good government.
It's so short-term. Again, one of the principles in addition to multiple use is sustained yield. So the whole idea on public lands is that they will serve the national purse into perpetuity, into the future. As long as America is here, we will have a reservoir of minerals and timber and energy to draw on if managed correctly. But what's happening right now is they're trying to break that system in favor of just really, really short-term profit. So you manage that hill correctly, and that'll produce timber for into the heat death of the universe.
But you don't understand. They could get more now.
But not tomorrow.
But tomorrow.
Yeah.
May never come.
Yeah.
So they're just going to get it now.
Just going to get it now.
You might as well just get it now.
No, but it's
why wait until tomorrow?
It's crazy. and the ways
is this the because a lot of shit we're the same age, give or take a year.
I'm 45. How old are you?
I'm 44. So
wow.
We're the same age basically, and I was shocked into reality, perhaps from a cocooned existence, but really when Trump got elected the first time, and I went, hang on, what the fuck? Mm-hmm. And I have been, and again, perhaps because of my age or I'm sheltered fucking white guy from Greenwich, I have witnessed across the board backsliding, of course, in human rights and
everything,
and shit. I never thought you go. These people won rights, and now they have them.
Yes.
These lands were protected.
Yes.
And now they're protected. I've never seen a backsliding and an unprotecting. It's fucking nuts, right?
It's so much of it's just so stupid. Is the problem of it, and you see that stupidity again on public lands, where it's just like you were identifying, short-term profit at the expense of long-term sustainability. And I'm not talking about kumbaya and fucking rainbows and unicorns and shit. I'm talking about logging. I'm talking about logging. And if you do it right and it's managed correctly, we can log that forever.
Yeah.
And
if there is a way to
there is a way to do that. That's what we've been doing for 100 years.
Yeah.
And right now what they're trying to do is break that and do logging tomorrow really big. And then no logging 2 days from now, because it'll just be a pile of mud that'll be glow in the dark radioactive.
Is this, from a public lands perspective, I'm not educated enough to say whether from a human rights perspective, I would suspect that maybe the implementation of Jim Crow might have been more of a backslide at that time than what we're seeing now. But that being said, in terms of public lands, has this been the biggest backslide?
Yes.
Ever.
100%.
Since they were established.
Remember that, it wasn't that long ago that we had, Richard Nixon. Republican guy, not the most not corrupt politician.
No, he got a couple of things right, actually.
Yeah,
wasn't Nixon EPA?
Yeah, he was EPA, he was Clean Water Act, he was Endangered Species Act, Clean Air, and Ronald Reagan was pro that stuff.
And all he did was be super racist and bug some people.
Yeah, all he did was crime.
Nixon is real charming crime by comparison. Nixon crime?
Nixon crime.
Nixon crime is so charming.
A little light breaking an injury.
Nixon would be like, World Liberty Financial.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. What's a Bitcoin? Like,
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Oh, my
Imagine
God.
Nixon had Bitcoin. Like,
Yeah.
he's send a telex or whatever the fuck they were doing. You know?
Yeah, I know.
Nixon crime was so charming compared to
For just the
crime.
naked grift of these people.
other than if you factor in Kissinger, I suppose there was probably more war crimes.
We are about to do a bunch of war crime.
We're gonna do.
Yeah.
Let's circle back on this.
Okay.
We'll have to.
Yeah.
Hey Siri, fact check my war crimes in 6 months. We'll see where we're at. We shouldn't.
We're
laugh at that,
doing
but-
war crimes in Minneapolis right now.
well, that actually,
the crime-ridden hellhole of Minneapolis.
Dude, the piece that you wrote a piece about, I think it was called or about preparing for tyranny.
Right.
And that essentially kind of got me thinking, because you started with the premise that some of these protesters, I mean, the ones who weren't being murdered in the street, were being followed home by ICE.
Yeah.
And started from the premise of, well, what if home, typically your safe space and maybe even your like prepper space, is no longer available to you?
Yeah, so
as a safe space.
being in the outdoors and being interested in things like hunting and guns and survival shit, manly man shit. It's like at some point you kind of intersect prepping and it starts to make sense.
Yeah.
I've written articles that like most traditional prepping where you're just stockpiling like 10 years of like cream of tomato soup is kind of stupid and silly because any fixed location is subject to siege.
Yeah.
But
That's why you put the tomato soup
all over
the hillside.
yeah.
I've buried soup all over the mountain. They're going to be finding it for years.
You at some point in all this become something of a prepper.
Right.
You look at what's going around. You look at the trends. Climate change. Right, weather's getting weird and unpredictable, and like we're not really taking care of our roads anymore, and there's a lot of dead trees falling down with the bark beetles, and so that inevitably leads to like, well, I need to own like a car on 35-inch tires with a winch and an electric chainsaw in the back, and then you need solar panels to run your battery pack to charge your chainsaw, and then you probably also need some recovery equipment, and
Pretty soon you're literally driving like a tow truck.
Yeah, pretty soon you're me. And
Yeah,
your car, your Ford Ranger gets 10 miles per gallon, and
It's real. I did read your article on how to buy a truck, and actually, it's incredibly well thought out. And I could easily write a similar article on how to buy a sports car.
Right.
You think people listen to you?
No.
I think they're like, oh, that fucking the Tacoma, right?
I'll just buy the Tacoma.
Right?
Tacomas are sick, bro. The internet says they're reliable.
Yeah.
I'll put 7,000 pounds of shit on my Tacoma and go to Alaska. That's gonna work great.
I did actually like that article. I thought it does what I did. It's a funnel of sort of yes, nos, and limits of what
You're not trying to tell people what decisions to make.
Yeah.
You're trying to help them understand the information they need to make smarter decisions.
Yeah, because they're always like, dude, would you get like a, they're asking me to compare two things that have nothing to do with each other.
Right.
Would you get like a Cayenne Turbo GT or like a Bentley Flying Spur? And I'm like, what? What? Like,
Why,
you know what I mean?
Why
Like,
do people buy Cayennes? It's like easily the worst car I've ever owned. They drive terribly.
might
They're
get a
impossible
Cayenne.
to maintain. They're ugly. You can't see out of them. They're just it's
might get a Cayenne.
literally the worst car I've ever owned is a Cayenne.
What year was it? It was like an old one?
2013.
Oh, okay.
It was a 3-liter diesel car.
Oh, the diesel one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone loved the diesel for a minute there.
So it was my wife's car, and she was really on it. And this was when we lived in California, and she was the first person in California to go get the repair because it was a 3-liter car. It was a repair, not a buyback. And Porsche of downtown LA lost her paperwork, and we spent like 3 years trying to get that ironed out.
I won't say anything negative about that dealership.
It was so bad, like such a fundamentally bad experience. At some point, like Porsche swore at her on the phone because she was just calling, trying to like figure out where her paperwork so she could sell the car. We parked it for 3 years. We didn't drive it. Then the battery died, and luckily I went on the owners forum and realized that before I moved the driver's seat, cut a hole in the carpet, and removed the proprietary battery that you can't get anywhere in Montana, I went on the owners forum, and it reminded me that I had to connect it to 12-volt power. Otherwise, the whole car would be bricked and totaled. So I did not total the car and change the battery, but the fact that I ran that risk is just obscene.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
It's not great.
It's insane. But like, the car drove bad. It didn't work for 3 years.
was a bad
Porsche were
experience.
jerks. And like for me, vision out of a car is really important because you can't drive what you can't see.
Yeah.
And you can't see out of them. I don't understand why anybody buys a Cayenne. If you want,
I don't have the vision.
If you want a Range Rover, if you want a SUV, a fast one for whatever reason, just to flaunt your credit score, buy a Range Rover Sport. They drive so much better. They're cool. They look better. You know.
I mean,
you can see out of them.
I don't know if see again the visual thing. Seeing out of them is not a problem. I've had. I may get a hybrid Cayenne with a warranty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I need to tow something.
Yeah.
I want to tow.
Why don't you just get a Super Duty?
Fuck out of here! I live in Los Angeles, dude. I don't live in fucking Green Acres.
Don't you own a car storage facility?
Dude, you
don't have parking for a Super Duty?
No.
Really?
No. I have very little surface level outside parking.
How much weight are you going to tow? Like, what kind of race car are you going to tow? You tow your Countach?
I'm gonna. We've talked about this in the show a lot. We don't need to have this debate on the show, but I'll just give you. I got a relatively lightweight enclosed trailer from Brian James Trailers. It's 2,500 pounds. Okay. And it's aerodynamic.
It's 2,500 pounds. How much weight are you putting in it?
Almost never more than 3,500 pounds.
So you're towing essentially
6,000 pretty much max, maybe 6,500.
So and what's the towing capacity on a Cayenne hybrid? 7,000?
7,800.
That's way too close to the limit. That's gonna be like going over the grapevine, like doing all that stuff, like the Royal Springs. It's gonna be sketchy as hell.
I disagree.
Get a diesel truck.
I do
get something that tows 40,000 pounds.
I absolutely do
and
not
you won't
want
even
that.
notice it's back there.
I don't want that,
dude.
I do not want that.
I
would rather have a slightly less optimized tow vehicle that's much better for the 95% of the time it's not towing anything.
Right.
I do not want to drive a fucking giant ass pickup truck around LA.
So why don't you just buy like a 10-year-old Super Duty?
I don't want to
park it somewhere and only use it for towing. Like towing's so sketchy with a car's not designed to tow.
Nah, it's all right.
I tow all the time, and it's a nightmare to a car that can't do it.
I don't have to do this. All I have to do is get 7 different press cars and try towing with them.
Great.
From the SUVs I want to
so just get a Ford Super Duty press car every time you need to tow a Willis.
Today I just got an email asking with a list of the new Super Duties. I can borrow one.
Great.
Look, I understand the argument. It's just I don't necessarily subscribe to the more is more.
But for towing more is more.
I know, but it's not that much weight.
I think for a dear reader, the best advice I can possibly give to you is to try to double the weight of your tow vehicle, your tow capacity. You're going to have such an easier time.
I understand.
Your car's going to be more stable. You're going to get better fuel economy.
Dude, I used to tow.
It's going to be way safer.
20 years ago, I towed with a 3,500 diesel.
Yeah.
Dodge, 3,500 diesel.
Smart.
The Cayenne hybrid makes more horsepower and torque.
Great. And it's wheelbase.
It has more. It has 2 more gears.
Its wheelbase is this long.
That's not a big deal. It's not that big of a trailer.
It's wheelbase.
It's not that big of a trailer.
Wheelbase creates stability.
It also has a big fucking battery pack. Weight helps.
Right, so more weight over the rear axle.
Yeah, the weight is in between. It's in front of the rear axle.
Okay, so what's the weight balance in that car?
I mean, I don't know exactly.
Is it 50-50 like they're supposed to be or something, or close thereof?
I do not know.
Because I mean, what's your tongue weight? What's your tongue weight on a Cayenne hybrid? Like 750 pounds?
I don't know offhand, but I know it can tow this trailer.
Okay,
but like I don't know.
It's going to be sketchy.
I'm going to try it before I buy it.
It's going to suck.
I'm not going to throw $75,000-$80,000.
You're doing this going down the grapevine.
Listen, I towed my Manx to Pebble Beach with a Bentayga, and it was chill.
Well, Bentegas are sick cars.
It was extremely chill. It was extremely chill. I also, man, I read your you and a couple of people that I read. Particularly Garbage Day, have talked about the sort of the stupidity and malice of the social media government.
Yeah,
like the fact that like ICE is terrorizing people for content.
Yes,
is like real crazy.
Yeah. So what the purpose of ICE has nothing to do with immigration. That's just like the cover story.
Right.
The purpose of ICE,
Like today, not originally.
No,
but
ICE was created during the George Bush administration as
Yeah,
to
yeah.
like give money to Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld.
It's a great cause.
Yeah,
I
it's a
mean,
great
listen,
cause.
we can't no notes there.
Dick Cheney's got to eat, man. You know?
Dick Cheney needs a third heart.
Yeah, so ICE has never had anything to do with immigration, but today it has even less to do with immigration than ever before. The entire purpose of ICE is to manufacture a violent insurgency against the American government so that Trump can be justified in invoking the Insurrection Acts.
Which
and
he's
declare
tried to do
martial law
so many times.
In order to, he's tried to do so many times. He's trying to invoke the Insurrection Act to declare martial law and then use that to shut down the elections and stay in power for a third term.
Like, there's a lot of people who I read that say that basically that was what January 6th was like supposed to be.
Yes.
Like, basically they wanted all those lunatics to fight, quote, Antifa.
Yes,
except Antifa's
exactly.
not real.
Antifa's not real, and these people are such
real
fucking morons.
real problematic.
So, like those guys, all those, our collective memory of January 6th is now about, a bunch of fucking morons invading the Capitol.
Mm-hmm.
They were never supposed to invade the Capitol. They were there to create a street war with the millions of Antifa blue-haired liberals that were descending upon Washington, D.C. and Donald Trump's imagination.
They were real.
And then, because of that street violence, he could have, again, invoked the Insurrection Act, declared martial law, and prevented the election from being certified.
Right.
And so we saw a test run for it then. It didn't work. He didn't go to prison somehow. And so he's trying that again now. And so the big takeaway here is that as we resist ICE deployments, as we protest, as we do that stuff, we have to resist the urge to do any sort of violence, which, believe me, that urge is there.
Well, yeah.
Because that will give him the excuse to deploy the military.
Because that's the whole point is just poking the bear.
Yes.
And then creating this, turning whatever like tiny little nothing arrest into
Yes.
some piece of content
Yes.
that can.
Remember that Nazism wasn't about persecuting Jews or sending them to gas chambers. Nazism was about collecting power.
Yeah.
And it did that, and fascist regimes collect power by villainizing the weakest members of society that are least able to defend themselves. And so right now, who are the weakest members of society least able to defend themselves? Immigrants and trans people.
Yeah.
Right? And so by villainizing those people and by inspiring violence against them, what they're trying to do is have normal people like you and I go, wait a second, that person can't defend themselves. I should stand up for them, and then go out and beat up a cop.
Yeah.
And then that video of like you beating up a cop to defend, some immigrant family on their way to church being rounded up.
It goes on Tucker Carlson.
It goes on Tucker Carlson, and then the
yeah.
82nd Airborne is, stealing your Bentley, and
Well, there's multiple shows. I mean, John Oliver just did it, and fucking Some More News just did it. It was that Nick Shirley guy who made this bullshit video about the child care centers in Minneapolis, and like the chain of events that led directly from that to like sending in the fucking troops.
Yeah, I mean it's wild how stupid that is. You take some little like incel pervert who can't get laid. And for some reason, a child care doesn't want some little incel pervert in their child care, and that's suddenly evidence of like Somali corruption. Like, where does that make sense? Where does that make sense at any level? It's all so stupid, and Hamilton Nolan writes about this really well. But it's just these people are fucking morons.
Yeah.
How are they in charge?
Because
we're all too busy to run for. We're all too busy running for office by having great careers,
we sold our we sold our convenience. We sold our privacy and we sold everything for convenience. And now they've got us.
Yeah.
Let's go to the people. Hang on.
Reader questions.
Patreon.com/The Smug and Tire Podcast is how you support the show, how you catch the show when it's live. I'm sorry it's not live right now. How you ask questions for the show, how you get the show early, how you get extra show, and how you get exclusive access to all kinds of cool, fun collabs and things that we do. And by the way, shout out to this Montana bourbon, whatever it's called, Montana 1889.
Everything here is called the same thing. It's all trying to play into like the fucking Dutton family bullshit.
Sure.
It's just like, come on. we're a little more dynamic than just like a bad image of a rancher.
Yeah, all right. The Swinging Tire says, can Wes recommend a place in the Northeast good for outdoor activities, hunting and camping?
Yeah, I mean the Northeast is wonderful. I would head to Maine, and just get Onyx Off Road, the app, and it'll lead you to everything.
Onyx is good.
Onyx
yeah.
Off Road. It's like $19 a year. It's great, and head up to like northern Maine. It's just tons of logging roads with little patches of public in there, and you can just find your own little slice of heaven really easily in there using again Onyx Off Road. Show you exactly where that is.
I've done a bunch of the backcountry discovery routes.
Yes, those are
rad.
excellent. Those are excellent.
Yeah, those are good. How do you like your Touaregs in the morning? Says, what's the most braking force you've ever felt in a car? Mustang GT3 Le Mans car for me. Have you ever driven some crazy shit?
It's been so long since I've done the car.
You don't do sports cars anymore.
I used to. I mean, like, I don't know, like Lexus.
What was the last sports car you reviewed?
That's been so long. I mean, Corvette ZR1, Lexus LFA, GT3
So that was like 2011.
Yeah, like
C6 ZR1. Yeah. That was a pretty good time to bow out.
Yeah.
Air-cooled testicles says Doug DeMuro recently made a video about the most important cars of the last 30 years. His top 3 were Tesla Model S, Toyota Prius, and Mercedes ML320. Agree or disagree?
Interesting choices. I fully agree on Tesla Model S. I
agree on Prius also.
I love the Prius.
The new Prius is dope.
Dude, it's sick. But honestly, the Prius forever has been up here. There's a lot of income inequality. So we talk about stealth wealth a lot, and like you don't want to flex here.
Yeah.
And so you want a car that gets you across socioeconomic divides. And if you want that anywhere in the country, doesn't matter if you're like in Carmel, if you're on Long Island, wherever you are. If you show up in a Prius, you're welcome.
Yeah.
At a dive bar, at like, Ralph Lauren's house, whatever it is. Like in Prius, you're fucking dope. The ML320, the reason he's listing that is it was the first car to use brake-based traction aids.
Oh.
Instead of
Is that why he did use
yes,
it? Oh.
instead of locking differentials. I didn't see Doug's video. Love Doug. Didn't see that video. But I guarantee that's why he's listing it.
I don't know if that was because it maybe was considered the first luxury crossover.
No, it's not really a crossover. It's
a
an
luxury SUV. But
it was the pioneer of modern electronic traction aids. And modern electronic traction aids are super effective. And I'm a huge advocate for them. I think most people don't realize they're on their cars and they don't use them. So if you're in like any sort of truck or anything like that that's off-roady, make sure you use your modes.
Yeah.
Like put it in snow mode, put it in rock mode, put it in like, then you'll get, they'll replicate the function of lockers by slowing down the wheel on the axle. That it's spinning the fastest to match your wheel speeds and give you traction off-road.
I don't really disagree with the list. I would, in my personal opinion, I would put the Lexus RX 300 as number 3 because it literally started the crossover.
And those were such unique cars because they were on that unique platform.
Yeah.
They were wonderful.
Oh, my mom, my mother, from the years of she amassed them.
Right.
By 2011, my mother owned 5 RX 300s at the same time.
I bet all 5 are still running.
I don't have the whereabouts of 3 of them.
Okay.
2 of them absolutely are.
Yes.
But she had a 97 the first year, a 99, an 03, an 05, and an 09.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you're shopping for just like a relatively affordable car that kind of does everything and is kind of nice inside,
early
they're super
RXs.
cheap. Yeah, they'll never die.
Actually,
To
be
sort of like your
honest with you,
LS.
the best year by far of all the RXs we had was the 05.
100%.
The 05 had the best quality leather, the best quality wood. It held up the best.
Because it was a new thing for them then, and they wanted to try something really different and hard, and they put everything they had into it.
Mm-hmm.
These days a luxury crossover is just the most bullshit, cheapest components you can possibly get in a car, sold to like consumers that don't know anything. They're all terrible. They're all exactly the same. They're all terrible. But those first generation luxury crossovers, or even just plain crossovers, like the first generation RAV4 was super fucking cool.
Yeah.
First generation Honda CR-V, super fucking cool.
Yeah.
That first generation RX had the weight of everything Toyota could put into a vehicle.
Yeah.
And that means something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yama Habibi, what is the first car Wes fell in love with and why?
That's a good question. I grew up in England. My dad was a diplomat, and he and I were really into English sports cars. My first car was a 1969 Morris Minor 1000. It was the biggest piece of shit ever. I think it had like 30 horsepower, maybe went 48 miles an hour. Like
Yeah,
downhill.
that's rough, dude.
Yeah, it was. I love that car. I loved that
rough.
car. I learned how to work on cars because it broke down like twice going back. Every time I went back, back and forth to school. It was just great car.
That's awesome.
Great car.
This one you probably can weigh in on. Mustang Geek says, backstory. People have asked regularly, like, I talked about a weight tax for cars. I felt like, is that someone's dog? Yes, it is. Because they've talked about increasing registration fees for EVs to offset the fact that they don't use gas, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
And I've been of the opinion, and it's not the most educated, but it's somewhat educated, that heavy cars disproportionately
Damage roads.
Yeah,
100%.
And actually, I was actually even further clarified by Ali from Range Energy, who said the transporters that are shipping heavy cars really fuck up roads.
Yes.
A hauler carrying a bunch of EVs,
A bunch of Rivians.
is really, really fucking up roads. So the question, that's the backstory. The question is, you've discussed a weight tax, but what about higher fuel taxes instead? History shows that when gas prices are high, consumers buy more fuel-efficient cars, lighter vehicles, et cetera, et cetera. It works in Europe. CAFE becomes unnecessary. Could higher fuel taxes be a market-driving solution to this environmental and societal problem?
I have a simpler solution.
What's that?
Right? I think most public policy should be simpler, should be written easier to understand, and it can be really broadly effective if we don't make it so complicated. Eliminating tax loopholes, eliminating the complicated tax code, right? That people like you and I benefit from, but that hurts the working man. The simple answer to like getting a lot of heavy cars off the road in America, and a lot of unfuel efficient cars, is to eliminate Section 179.
I actually am pro that. That's the where
So
you can
readers or watchers, if you're not familiar, Section 179 is a tax incentive from the IRS that encourages you, if you have business income, to offset it, to buy a car that weighs more than 6,000 pounds, and you can write off
6,000 pound gross vehicle weight, not curb weight.
And how much can you write off?
So they've reduced the amount you can write off over the past few years.
It used to be like
all of it.
All of it.
Like
It used to be 100%.
Yeah. It's less now.
Yeah.
I support getting rid of it.
Yeah, but the reason why every housewife in Dallas drives a G-Wagon, the reason why every general contractor has a Ford Super Duty, on and on and on, is Section 179. And so if we eliminate that and it's just fair market, they need to buy their own car instead of having taxpayers subsidize their car, they'll buy something more fuel efficient, they'll buy something lighter.
So
you could just strike that from the tax code.
I am against incentivizing the purchase of heavier vehicles,
giant luxury vehicles,
specifically where people are seeking out a heavier vehicle for a purpose. If
you've ever been in traffic behind like a Ford Super Duty Platinum that costs like $180,000, be like, why does this truck exist?
Yeah,
it exists because somebody had a whole lot of income to write off, and they were forced to buy a really heavy, stupid vehicle. So you eliminate Section 179, and you eliminate any incentive there is to buy that instead of an S-Class or something.
I'm buying an SUV.
Yeah.
Okay, do you fuck with UTVs very often?
I do,
UTV guy? Okay, we got a UTV question.
Okay.
Listen and sometimes watch says, I'm going to rent UTVs for a bachelor party in Gatlinburg in a week. There'll be 9 of us. I know, right? Yeah. Someone's losing an arm.
Yeah, someone's absolutely losing an arm. Sorry.
Well, the number. I'm going to ask the second and do the second part first. The two-parter. Tips for a bunch of amateurs, and then part 2 is any particular brand or model we should aim for.
Brand or model won't matter.
Yeah.
So the problem is like UTVs are essentially like a motocross bike that appears safer because it has 4 wheels and a really shitty roll bar. The mantra for off-road driving that's just out there universally is as slow as possible, as fast as necessary.
Yeah.
Right? But the problem is the UTVs are so capable and they have so much performance.
It's flipped.
It's flipped.
As fast as possible, as slow as necessary.
Yeah, and so they essentially exist to kill bachelor party members. I would just advise you not to consume alcohol until afterwards.
For sure.
Yeah, and then just realize that you're driving off road in an unfamiliar thing. Go really slow. Enjoy yourself. Don't kill anybody. Don't lose arms.
Dude, Andrew.
Wear a helmet. Wear eye protection.
Why am I such an asshole blanking on Andrew's last name, who's a car writer, who I call fucking Lefty.
Andrew Collins.
Yes,
Yeah.
I literally call him Lefty.
Yeah.
He rolled a UTV on his wedding day.
Yeah.
And God fucking read his vows in like an ambulance.
Yeah, dude, it's
like, it's funny now because he didn't die, but his
Yeah.
hand is permanently fucked up.
no, and he's not as confident as he used to be before he had that accident. He drives much slower.
Yeah.
It really fucked him up. And just man, like if you guys want to own UTVs, I encourage you to get some training, like a high performance driving school, high performance off road school. But if you're gonna rent them for a bachelor party, man, that is a worst case scenario. Just like, I don't know, man, go to a fucking water park and enjoy some water slides.
But if you must do it, like just be so
really
careful. And arm restraints are a must.
Yeah, give everybody a safety briefing. You're there to have a good time, not go to the fucking ER.
Yeah. Tickle Your Pickle for a triple nickel says, I'm considering removing my steering wheel on my 1993 300ZX and getting a smaller one to get a quick better steering ratio. The idea of removing an airbag from a car that spends 99% of its time on the street feels wrong, but it's a 93, so it's a Gen 1 airbag. In my opinion, you should probably disconnect the airbag at this point, even if you're keeping that car.
Airbags as safety devices, if you've never been hit in the face by one, it's kind of like recreationally using a hand grenade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll burn you, it'll break your nose. There's probably some shrapnel involved. What was that company that got sued for the shrapnel?
Oh, the Takata.
Yeah, Takata. Yeah.
No, I mean, look, a Gen 1 airbag is better than nothing in a high-speed crash, but potentially very problematic in a low-speed crash.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I would not be worried about taking one out of a 93.
What I would do for triple nickel reader guy is I would do racing buckets.
Yeah.
And a proper racing harness. And then in those cases, you don't need an airbag because you're properly restrained.
Yeah, although you might break your neck. Excuse me. Not too delicate. Oh, wait, hang on. Real quick. Dodge January six-pack coup attempt. What thoughts on outdoor car covers? Better than nothing?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, better than nothing.
I should probably use one. I wish I would have one sometimes, but I have a camper on my truck, and so nothing fits.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it keeps. We have Chinese elms in front of our house, and they like rain sap on our vehicles, and it's a nightmare for everything from just clearing your windshield. Like absolutely use an outdoor car cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, buy a good one.
Okay. Hang on. Well, I don't want to. I didn't preview these. I'm sorry. Okay. Duffel Shuffle Retirement Club. How much do you think cars being on a TV show or movie or owned by a YouTuber inflates their price compared to the identical car not owned by those people? I mean, so here.
I mean, yes, but like, what's an example?
So if it's a real TV, a real TV car and movie car, then it's like, is the movie or TV show good and well known
and well remembered?
And if so, maybe like what was the role of the car in
it? Is
it?
iconic, like you have like Miami Vice, Ferrari Daytona.
Sure, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Knight Rider and like early Trans Ams.
Yeah.
Probably not. Like,
but like Kramer's car from Seinfeld, probably minimal.
Right.
Minimal. But like
yeah.
with a YouTuber, I mean, it depends on like
how cringe is that YouTuber?
Well, what's their reputation? Like, I suppose I'm a YouTuber and I sold my car at auction. So like the fact that it was mine shouldn't mean anything. But for someone who knows about me, they know that I buy the best examples and I maintain them incredibly fastidiously, and I service the shit out of them before I sell it.
And you have really poor taste in interior fabrics.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for me, like, you should just buy with confidence knowing that I don't want somebody out there going, Matt Farah sold me a piece of shit.
Right.
So for someone like me, maybe it's 10 or 15%, but if it's the car Paul drove in the Fast and Furious 2 or something, then
it's just like
it's maybe double or triple. The McQueen premium was always 300%.
Yeah. But readers, good advice, never buy a car from me.
Yeah, you use them until they're done, like the French.
Yes.
PTS Normal says, how much more damage could our current administration do to our national parks and public lands before their term is over?
A lot. There is, if you go to my Substack, wessiler.substack.com, and search Trump plan to sell national parks, he has an express plan that's 7 steps long that has been articulated by the administration, and we are on step 5.
That's just straight out of Project 2025?
No, it's their own White House plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Project 2025, the section on public lands is written by William Perry Penley, who's like a comic book villain. Like in addition to trying to sell public lands, he like writes like anonymous op-eds about like how homosexuals are icky.
Cool.
Yeah. He's just a fucking weirdo.
So assuming it's
yeah.
only 3 years, and that's a scary assumption,
Yeah.
but how much more can they fuck shit up?
So we could lose some major national parks. They'll try to sort of like slow roll at the beginning and try to sort of like build some like enthusiasm around it. Still privatize like something nobody cares about, right? They've identified like, you know, historic buildings, battlefields, stuff like that.
Yeah.
They'll go in and they'll just like, right now, some operations of national parks have always been privatized. You know, if you go stay in the Mammoth Lodge, it's Santerra.
Yeah.
In Yellowstone. And Santerra is pretty good. But, you know, like if you go back to like a Delaware North, who used to run Yosemite, some of the lodges at Yosemite, they're terrible. And the guy that used to run Delaware North is now the nominee for the Park Service director. And so he has knows how to work the Park Service, knows how to milk taxpayers. And so what they're going to do is going to just try to like roll out more and more privatization within national parks. And all of that's just going to prioritize stuff upwards.
Yeah.
And so there'll be great places for Elon Musk to visit. If he wants to go pet a bison,
cool.
Please do. But it'll be less and less accessible to you and I and normal people. And we could see some really significant sell-offs as well.
So like they could create like a South Africa style game preserve.
Yes. In fact, that's one of their priorities with Doug Burgum as DOI. Right now, all wildlife in America is owned and trusted by the public.
Okay.
Then managed by the states, and so they have a stated goal of wanting to privatize that for profits. And so instead of like access to hunting is really democratic right now, it costs nothing and it's accessible to everybody, and it's how millions of families put protein on their plates to this day.
Yeah.
But if that goes to the South Africa example where it's fully privatized and access is just for rich people, then we could lose that. That's really sad.
You didn't use these words yet, so I don't know if you've covered this already, but Lamborghini's on Parade says, what are your thoughts on the BLM policy reversal on public lands rule?
Yeah, so the public lands rule is really a case of misinformation. I have a lot of frustrations with the liberal side of the coin here, where they sort of like spend a lot of time virtue signaling and not achieving much. And so the public lands rule was not a rule. It was a sort of memo from the last administration that said, hey, consider conservation on an equal footing to other uses, which is a very formal term of public land, uses, which are like energy extraction, things like that. It never actually made, because this would have to be an act of Congress, never made conservation a use, capital U, of public lands, and it just really upset a bunch of people. So there was no material change on the ground when that was eliminated, and it was just sort of, again, the liberal side of public lands world not doing itself any favors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lock Shock Daryl just wants a journal recommendations. I use either Moleskines. I've been impressed with this one, which I got as swag from Monticello Motor
fancy.
Club.
Yeah.
This one is Spectre & Co., and I have been very impressed with the durability of this fake leather cover. I've been writing on this since, what's the first date on here? April 28th of 2025, so almost a year. And I mean, look, that looks like
brand new.
Almost brand new.
Yeah,
so that's
I like it.
very impressive from Spectre & Co. Okay. My son, Doug's Dinero. My son just turned 1 and loves the sound of engines. A 50cc dirt bike or gas weed whacker will probably make him ecstatic. What car, truck, tractor, etc. has an amazing exhaust sound and can fit a 99th percentile baby?
So I'm gonna go back up a second there. As somebody who suffers from significant tinnitus today, use earmuffs and when it's appropriate, earplugs for your child throughout their life. I can't go to bed without really loud ringing in my ears.
What do you think did it?
Motorcycles.
Motorcycles?
Absolutely
Yeah.
motorcycles. Everything sounds...
Engines or wind noise? Or both?
The wind noise is way more significant
Yeah.
than the noise, but like I grew up attending Formula One races with my dad. You know, like it's everything. It's all the above.
I do not wear earplugs enough.
I
wear them like when I shoot guns. I wear them
all the time now, but I've done the damage, and it
Yeah.
only gets worse, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it sucks.
Panic at My Disco. I'm not gonna give you my Korean taco recipe on the show. I'll just write it in the comments on the fucking Patreon page. Can car people and conservation people and progressives like myself find the middle happy ground?
I think we're all in the middle happy ground already.
You think so?
We are divided by people around us, not by ourselves. You have
Sure.
to remember that the idea of a personal carbon footprint that impacts climate change was created by an ad agency called Ogilvy for the client BP to shift the blame away from the oil companies and onto us personally. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, all of us care about this stuff. Like I own 2 10-mile-per-gallon trucks because I like going outdoors. You know, and I feel like I can't fully experience the outdoors in the way I want to without them.
Yeah.
Because I can't access the trailheads I want to access. I can't get further into the mountains. All of us like the same stuff. All of us are hopefully good people that want to see other people succeed. What more is there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Just because I don't want a Super Duty,
Right.
You know, I'm not. If you need a Super Duty, get a fucking Super Duty.
Right.
I don't shame people. I've expressed the feeling of shame from
Yes.
myself
Yes.
when I drive something that's
Yes.
enormous in
Yes.
an inappropriate situation.
You and I look at vehicles for their utility and their
Yeah.
function. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of people who don't come into vehicles from that place look at them through like virtue signaling and lifestyle signaling and sort of socioeconomic status
It could
signaling.
be that, but also I think Americans versus Europeans buy cars for like a 95th% use case.
Yes.
Americans do it for like 120% use case.
Yeah, just that like one time of the year that you need to tow. You buy
I
the
might
Super
need to move a
Duty.
couch someday.
Yeah.
I better get a pickup truck.
Yeah.
You know.
But I also to some degree I understand that because you're buying one car, right?
Yes.
You want it to fulfill all your needs. And even if it's once a month that you might go to Home Depot for a home project or take your entire kid's soccer team, you know,
Yeah.
or go on a camping trip or whatever it is, the hassle of having to take time out of your day to like drive to a rental car company
Sure.
and like, you know, all that, you know, bullshit just to get that truck that, you know, you maybe don't need for your commute. You just want to own that vehicle all the time and have it ready to go.
I understand. Like
Yeah.
I try, and maybe I'm not perfect at it. Like I try to not like shame others for their choices.
Right.
But when I have said how like I feel about it, like
Yeah.
I don't have kids, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
I like a 95% use case vehicle, not
Yeah.
120%.
Yeah.
And I've said like when I drive ginormous vehicles in the city, like I feel like an asshole.
Yeah.
And then people have taken that and said that I think you're an asshole. If you, it's like, no, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
if you don't feel that way, like, okay.
And I get that. I mean, like, you know, when I was the first road test editor at DeleteMe in the 2000s, I was living in Brooklyn. You know, total hipster, long hair, you know, American
remember the
Apparel
hair.
V-necks.
Yes,
Yeah,
remember the hair, yeah.
And, you know, I bring like an Audi R8 home.
Yeah.
And I felt like a fucking asshole. You know, and like I like Audi R8s, I like sports cars, but you know there's a time and a place for one.
Yeah. Brooklyn
It's-
isn't usually it.
It's not like, you know, like Bushwick in 2004.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No, well, someone had asked in the Patreon, and I didn't necessarily. Well, we can answer it. Is if you'd ever been profiled in a car.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I get profiled today. I think both my wife and I do because we both drive modified lifted trucks, and like our lifestyle sort of justifies that.
Yeah.
And it's just the reality of like living in a place like Montana, being able to fully enjoy it. Is I'm preparing for extreme weather. I'm preparing for the unknown. So one interesting fact about up here, the only NOAA weather radar is in Great Falls, the Air Force Base, and it's in a valley surrounded by mountains. So it's great if you live in like the valley, you know.
It only does valleys.
Yeah, but there's no other like accurate weather forecast in like all of Montana.
And if they just defunded that one, like
yeah, I mean, no, they have it, but it's just there never were accurate weather
Yeah.
forecasts, and so like, we could go. So we could go visit friends in Innis, which is over that mountain range there, in like June. And while we're at dinner, it could snow 3 inches.
Yeah.
And it's like, we want to be able to drive home, and there's going to be mule deer on the road and elk on the road, and we're not going to be able to see. So I want an ARB bumper, and I want light force lights, and I want something with a torsion center diff and good tires.
Yeah, I mean, living up here, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's a very different thing.
100%.
I'm probably not going to hit a deer or a moose.
Yeah.
Probably. But I will have to
yeah.
park at Trader Joe's like all the fucking time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. I get it.
And
Yeah.
we'll borrow a fucking Super Duty from Ford when we need one. That's what we'll do.
Yeah.
Thanks, Wes. One more time. WesFromMontana.com.
WesFromMontana.com and
right.
Wes
You live
Siler,
here.
WesSiler.substack.com. Please subscribe. Again, I got fired in September for pointless fucking reasons. So I could use your help right now.
Yeah, the Substack is for us. The Patreon is the move.
Yeah.
Thank you to our patrons for supporting us, asking such good questions. I think I don't know if our next show is back in the studio. We maybe have another show from Montana when Zach gets here tomorrow because it's fucking ice race, baby. It's gonna be good. Yeah. Ice race will be good. Thank you, and we'll see you later. Bye.